Internet, it's me. Tonight's movie was Nneka, the Pretty Serpent. And let me start off by saying, this movie was 17 hours long. Now, I know you're thinking I exaggerate, and that's because I am exaggerating. It was like 2.5 hours long. But it felt 17 hours long. I guess that's my first point, really, is this was just... Everything was so slow and so drawn out. Like, this movie could have been an hour and a half. And you could have hit all the same story beats. You could have followed the same plot. Everything could have unfolded the way it did. You just need to cut out so much of the extra nonsense. It was... Oh my god, it took forever to go anywhere. And then when things finally did start happening, something would happen, and you'd have to wait another 20 minutes for something to happen again. Like, it was forever taking. I'm not a fan of that. Also, visually, there were some shots that were good. There's one shot where Nneka is walking through some hallway or something. I don't remember the exact framing of the shot because it was 17 hours ago that I saw it. But it was very low light, like a nighttime kind of thing almost. So she appeared nearly black and white. But you got a glimpse of the red of her dress. And just the use of color there, it worked really well. It made it look like a good shot. There was another scene where they did something very similar, where she was walking through the darkness, but she walked into like a light beam coming from a window, and she got like an amber glow just across her eyes from the light coming through the window, but the rest of her was still in the darkness. And again, that was a shot that just looked really good. The problem was everything else was bleh. Anytime they had any kind of special effects, it looked very hokey. And all the action scenes, as few and far between as they were awful. It was a lot of like hand-to-hand stuff. But people were clearly not hitting each other. I mean, miles between the swing and the target. It didn't look good. The acting was fine. I will give them credit for that. All the actors did great. The lead was wonderful. And it was weird, too. In the movie, multiple times, someone would make a comment on how the lead, Nneka, was not beautiful or something. Which is insane. The actress was gorgeous. I don't know what they were talking about. It was a very weird cast to try to make that point, because she was absolutely beautiful. It was very silly. It was kind of like, oh god, I can't remember the movie. There was a movie recently where, it was in Barbie. That's what it was. It was in Barbie, where, they were trying to make the point about, inner beauty and outer beauty and all of that, and of course, Margot Robbie was in that role, and they commented on that. The narrator did. It was a similar thing here, where they kept saying like, oh Nneka, you're not as beautiful as you think you are, or, your face like that, you're not going to attract men, whatever it was they were saying. But she was gorgeous, so like none of those comments fit at all. It was very stupid. Was my point. Very dumb. I don't know why they thought they could pull those comments off with the actress they had, but neither here nor there. I don't know what to say about this one. It was very long. A lot of it was weird. The story itself was actually fine. There's this girl who is of the bloodline of... They're kind of vague, but it seems like some sort of like tribal like queen mother who has powers. And for whatever reason, her parents are killed because her mother turned 32, and I guess that's when you would realize your powers. And so she is reached out to by the current Queen Mother spirit and said, like, hey, help me and we'll get revenge on the people that killed your parents. And she's doing that. She kills all these people. And then the last one she has to kill is the father of her boyfriend, who she very much loves. And she doesn't want to do it because the father reveals to her that, hey, it was the current Queen Mother that actually killed your parents. It's that surprise twist villain that you totally didn't see coming, because you've never seen a movie before. But yeah, so in the end, he's like, ah, don't help her because she killed your parents. She's actually evil and has been against you the whole time. And so he then, makes the ultimate sacrifice, which again was a huge shock because you've never seen a movie before. And he kills himself, which means the Queen Mother can't get the powers. So she decides, oh, well, the next in his bloodline then needs to be killed so I can get my powers that way, which of course is the boyfriend. And Nneka doesn't want to kill her boyfriend, so she sacrifices herself in a clone of the scene we just saw, basically. Once again, making the ultimate sacrifice, which once again is surprising because once again, you've never seen a movie. Anyway, long story short, she ends up getting the powers and getting her rightful place as the new Queen Mother because the old Queen Mother was evil. And she doesn't die, she is magically still alive and gets to live her happy life with her boyfriend. Um, and I know I mocked it there because it is very cliche and predictable, but it's still perfectly fine as a story. Like, it's not bad. I think the main thing I need to bring up is it's not horror. This movie is tagged as a horror mystery. When I looked online, because I guess that's where I should clarify how these marathons always work. I tend to look on streaming services and I'll just see what's available. I'll scroll through just based on genre. Um, or sometimes I'll Google, like, recent good horror movies, and I'll inevitably end up on a list on IMDb where someone is like, hey, here's 100 horror movies that I liked that came out in the last 5 years. Or sometimes I'll just browse the horror subreddit, and people will post things like, yeah, that looks interesting. That's how I do these. I don't. I don't usually look up a lot of reviews. I don't look up synopses. I do none of that. I go off the name or the poster, and if it has at least one genre that is horror or horror related, so like suspense or thriller or mystery, like that's enough. I'll add it to the list. So this one, I don't remember where this particular one came from. I think it was on the horror subreddit. People were talking about foreign horror films that are worth watching, and this one was recommended. Um, and then on IMDb, it is tagged as a horror mystery. I'm like, okay, so it's a recent movie. At least one person recommended it as decent. It's a foreign horror film, which is cool because I like to see more of those and just, get storytelling from people that have walked a very different life than me because they might have something original to say. And I mean, it's horror and a mystery, so it fits the vibe. I'm on board. And then I watched it. It's not horror at all. It's very much just a drama. Every once in a while, something vaguely supernatural will happen, or someone will die, yes, but it's not a horror. There are no jump scares. There's not really a monster. There's nothing here that would scare or unsettle you. It's not horror. It's not horror in any way. I don't I don't know. So yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna leave this. Is that the acting was fine. The story was not necessarily original, but passable. Um, but the pacing was god awful. The movie was way longer than it needed to be. Definitely suffered from bloat. And overall, it's just not horror. So if you're looking for horror right off the bat, avoid this. If you just want a fairly interesting drama that also happens to be Nigerian, you can give this a go. It's not terrible. Like, as a drama, if that's what you're coming into this for, it's probably fine. Again, it's slow, but if that's what you're in the mood for, if you're looking to Netflix and chill, so you're only half paying attention to a lot of the scenes, perfect movie. Um, but yeah, if you want horror, this ain't it. Uh, yeah, I think that's it. I think that's where I'm gonna end this review. It definitely not for me, at least not for this marathon, but I don't know what else to say. So I'll just see you tomorrow.